Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Green Arrow FPL podcast and Fantasy Football Hub as we look ahead to game week 31 after eventually both of us wildcarded, spoiler alert, in game week 30. So we'll be talking about that a little bit. Firstly, apologies that we're a little bit late. We're normally bang on time. It's completely my fault. I accidentally tweeted 4:40 p.m. as a typo, and Rich looked at that and assumed it was later, so it's completely my fault. So apologies there for everyone, but thanks for everyone for being patient and waiting for us. Great to have so many of us with us. Give you all a shout out in a sec, but firstly, my name is Fergi, and I'm here with the brilliant Rich Clarke. Rich, how are you? And what colour is your arrow so far in game week 30?
Hi, Fergie. Hi, everybody. Well, at the moment, I think it's green, but I'm not sure it'll stay green because I have no player in the remaining fixture this evening. So big news. I decided to sell Palmer on my wild card and go for Saka. I heard fell for some April Fool's jokes that said Saka was going to start, and that was good enough for me to take a risk on him on my
Unbelievable.
wild card. That turned out to be someone claiming to be making an April Fool's joke, and that was why I chose Saka. Initially, of course, he was benched about a minute after I bought him in, just before the deadline. And then, of
Superb.
course, I had the last laugh. I'm an absolute genius because he came on and scored straight away. So
What a
all's
player,
well
mate.
that ends well.
What a player.
Stop playing.
I've
Stop
seen
playing.
lots of sort of spunky moves this week. Will from the hub accidentally left his captain on Isak this week.
Right.
Accidentally meant to put it on Salah, and there was a couple of others. I think Ollie Poole or his friend benched the wrong people and they end up coming on, all this sort of stuff. So yeah, crazy old game. But you're on a green, mate, which is a decent start. But as you say, I think he's like 64% owned or something still. Cole Palmer tonight, so could be interesting.
Something like that. Well, probably at some ranking bands he is. Yeah, it was. I was intending, as if you remember when we podded with Ben just 3 days ago, I was intending to ride through, and I
Absolutely.
went out for a long walk on Tuesday. I actually did a rare thing, and I went to a pub at lunchtime and had a beer with a burger, and came back
What's the life?
and saw some team news that Justin
It's the
Clivert
one
was
in
a
it.
doubt for
It's the one.
well, that evening. And well, to cut a long story short, that tipped me over the edge. I just thought, look, I think I contacted you and Adam and said, look, I think I'm being a bit stubborn here and just holding out for no reason. So I just hurriedly put together a wild card. I'd lost a couple of price increases from the previous night, but I put it together in about an hour, and mainly to save myself a bit of stress over the coming days and tomorrow night because I'm out tomorrow night. So I just thought, look, do it now, get it done, and take on the upside.
How
So
was
that was my
your wild
story.
card played out against what your team would have been out of
I
interest?
added it up. I looked at what my other team would have scored, and I think I've got 50, and my other team would have scored 49
Okay.
with Palmer left.
Okay.
So virtually no
So
difference.
you
But
want
I
to?
think probably unless Palmer gets booked or makes a 1 point cameo, I'm going to be worse off as a result
Yeah.
because
Okay.
that Mbuemo
The
goal and the
Buemo
Evan
one. Oh,
Nicholson goal, it kind of evened it up really
yeah,
with
yeah.
gains that I got from Saka and other things. So really, it's been a bit meh so far, I would say,
Yeah,
Fergie.
well, we will ask the chat to rank our wildcards in a little bit. I wildcarded on Sunday night with Ben, so I benefited from a lot of sort of rises and falls and stuff. I am showing a live rank red arrow here, but that is incorrect. I think I must have took this at a wrong time because I'm on the smallest of greens. I'm on something like 591k, which is about a 7k green. I'm only on 44 points.
Right.
Do have Palmer to play, so that's the big difference between our team. But I did bench Murphy, Rogers, and Konza. What's that? 24 points, including Pope. Um,
Wow.
Tripled
Yeah,
up.
should have bench boosted.
Well, I was listening to Ben, as everyone should do. Triple Arsenal defence, and I was weighing up the triple Arsenal defence against the Palace attack, and it kind of all fell for me in terms of I was zero point 0.1 short from the team I wanted, and then zero point 0.2 if I filled it a different way, and all of a sudden I think I took out Martinez, put in Pope, and then did something else, and it was just the exact money. But I had Timber for 7 points. Gvardiol, obviously got Gabriel, looks like he's going to be out for the season. So that's a transfer waiting to happen. It's going to be interesting to see who takes his place. I think Kiwior came on. They're really light on defenders, and he's only 4.8 million. So I'm wondering whether he could actually be a fairly cheap, decent option until the end of the season. Salah, Palmer, Sarr, Murphy, and Rogers, very, very template. And then
What do you think? I mean,
Isa.
Morgan Rogers. I've owned him all season, and that's part of the reason I kept him. Was I've only paid 5 million base for him at the beginning of the season. He's never left my team. I don't think I've ever had any of his double-figure hauls.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
Every single time I put him on the bench, he produces some sort of double-figure return, and every time I play him, he doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
I just don't understand it, mate. It's just crazy. So, what do? Do you play him again this weekend? I don't think we do.
Home to Forest, is it?
Yeah, but then it means benching Murphy away to Leicester.
How are we doing that, mate? We'll be benching. You'll be benching another haul from Rogers, I think. Welcome everyone in the chat. Great to have you with us. Ross Johnson is in FPL Gaza. Zara Kennedy is in. Let's have a Colin Johnston. Wildcard injuries, all the rage. Yeah, it's crazy. I think I've got 3 flagged players. Ross Johnson, I'd like to hear Fergie read me some bedtime stories. We'll see about that, Ross. Maybe it's another sort of level of hub membership we can offer. Paul Van Rensburg is in. Steve Foy, hello all fellow point dodgers. We're in the right place, absolutely. Who else is in? Anup says favourite pod of the week. Great to have you with us, Anup. Discover with Sim, FPL Freddy, and Harry Dawson, who's took a pogo, and so many more. Great to have you with us all. We've dusted off the spaffometer. So both end at wildcard in game week 30. Got question mark by it at the moment. Got to be very... Well, it's definitely not a smashed it, is it? At the moment, because obviously we could have just wildcarded in game week 31. So, and benefited from not having Gabriel and et cetera, et cetera. So, I don't know, Rich. I don't know.
I think, well, it's certainly with a wild card, you've always got to wait for the stagger to unwind, so to speak. But yeah, it's a meh.
Looking grim. It's looking grim.
I'm applying for a meh.
We're gonna have to see how it plays out over the next week or two. But I think my first instinct is I haven't worked out my point. I would have had 8 Norrie and a Mbeumo, so I think I would have ended up maybe levelish as well. My first instinct, Rich, is if we'd have held the wild cards, we would have been wild carding forward facing now in game week 31. That's my first instinct, which would kind of hurt to me on the spaffed. I'm not sure yet, but let's see what the chat thinks. I don't know.
The chat may not be kind. I don't know. Yeah, it could well be. If Palmer goes off tonight, it'll definitely be a spaffed.
Yes, exactly. As you removed him, yeah, it's gonna be. I didn't have Rogers. I took him out a few weeks ago, but I'm glad to have him back in my team. And
I think if you look at I looked at, I think one of the content creators did a game my squad. So minus Gabriel, of course, but yeah, it that sort of made me feel a bit better about it.
Exactly.
After the deadline, people are drafting it up with the likes of Saka and Rodgers in there and stuff like that. So Foden was another disappointment. I think he was a bit of if you were a bit of a money bags manager and you had that extra money for the 3rd or 4th mid, then you were tempted to go for Foden, and that turned out to be another nightmare for people, didn't it? So no one knows who's going to play for City apart from Gvardiol and Marmoush.
It is. That's about it. For those who haven't seen, the double game week 33 fixtures were confirmed this afternoon, which is great. Very, very well played as usual, Ben Krelling, because whoever wildcarded, we all wildcarded with full confidence in his predictions, and they have come to light. So superb stuff. Thank you, Ben, and his pod. His pod performance was absolutely fantastic on Sunday. We had masses of views, and I really think that the way he spoke so adamantly about wildcarding did help sort of sway the FPL community to that early wildcard. I know a lot of people were on the fence, but Yeah, but Rich, do you just want to give us, the kind of lay of the land as we look at it now from game week 31 onwards, with the doubles confirmed for 33, the blanks confirmed for 34. Anything else you think is relevant?
Yeah, I think I'm looking at an updated graphic from Ben here. So the doubles for 33, which was probably the most important and imminent things that most of us based our wild cards around, they were confirmed this afternoon. So Crystal Palace, Manchester City, Aston Villa, and Arsenal will all double as planned. And most of the wildcard planning this week and last week will build teams towards that double game week in 33 and the double game week next week to come before it. There was some jeopardy over where the Forest versus Brentford fixture would fall. Ben had that predicted to stay in game week 34 as the most likely outcome. And again, he was bang on with that prediction, and it now will be played, I think, on the
Incredible.
1st of May, which is a Thursday, I think.
Yeah.
Probably one of the days we end up podding or not podding. But yeah, it's that one is now not going to be a double game week, which will lessen the likelihood of a double in game week 36. But I see he's updated the graphic somewhat to predict likely double game weeks in game week 36 for Manchester City and for Bournemouth. And that is presumably because Manchester City are most likely to win their cup semi-final. Is that right? And
Yes.
the other one
Against
is that
Forest.
Villa will win their cup semi-final over Crystal Palace. I mean, that's probably tighter to call, but he's got them now showing as likely rather than possible. So the trend seems to be, and it has been all through the season, that the FA is pulling fixtures
Yeah,
forward rather than pushing them back, and
absolutely.
so there will possibly be or probably be a small double in 36 to come, which is where, if you are still wild carding this week, you might want to bear in mind some of your squad members to have in if you're making up your bench boost, that you could get a later double, even though a player might have a single game week in game week 33. The prospect of that double later in 36 will still mean that they're a good pick for that week. So likes of I mean, West Ham are still one of the teams that could double, but maybe not if it's only because they put that tweet out about Forest beating City, wasn't it? If
Yeah,
Forest reached the cup final, their game would be
that's
played
it.
in game week 36. So yeah, lots of possibilities, but certainty now between game weeks 31 and 34, which is the next month, and that's about as good a horizon as you'll ever get in fantasy football with
Absolutely.
fixtures.
We will chat. We'll touch on chip strategy next. Firstly, it seems like there's potentially a couple of issues with the audio, but apparently, if you restart, it's absolutely fine. So if you are having issues with the audio, you please just knock the stream off, come back on, and it should be absolutely fine according to some people in the chat. So thank you very much for that. So, Rich, Ben Krellin tweeted, and he did his full team reveal on Fantasy Football Hub over the last sort of day or two, that I think now he's actually going to bench boost in game week 32. I don't know if you saw that, and play his triple captain, I think, in 33. Have you given any more thought at all to your strategy, or are you leaving yourself flexible and open?
Well, I think obviously the time to decide on that really was when you played the wild card. So the way to tell when you're looking at someone's wild carded team if they are bench boasting in 33 is they're more likely to have Pope and Henderson in
Yeah,
goal and a Nottingham Forest asset on their bench. Whereas if you're a 33 bench booster, you're more likely to have West Ham and Aston Villa assets in your side. So maybe a Bowen, maybe a Areola in goal to save a bit of money, or maybe an Ezri Konsa as your bench defender. So I went for the latter. I went for a double game week 33 or bench boost 33 strategy. That's mainly because I've still got the triple captain to use, and I see Isak in 2032 as the best week to use the triple captain. So my bench boost is kind of shaped by the need to use the triple captain on Isak. I don't really like the uncertainty of keeping a chip for 36 when I'm not going to know anything about it until at least game week 34. So I'm on the bench boost 33 train. However, given the fact that our teams have already got two or three flags each, Fergie, within 5 minutes of wildcarding, game week 33 seems a long way away,
it
doesn't it?
does. It does indeed. Yeah. So well, who were the big injuries this week? It was Kluivert, Aina, Haaland, Gabriel. I've got Timber as well.
Timber as
Isak went
well.
off as a precaution. Plenty
Trippier,
going
I think,
on.
as well, has
Trippier.
got a bit of a knock. I think if you, however, and several people went for
Yes.
him because they could afford it. You see, probably a nice punt to go for him. But yeah, he is quite injury prone, and he's now maybe a doubt for this weekend. So yeah, the flags are mounting, and I can't see it changing really.
No, no, definitely.
Keep
There's
coming.
just more and more football in there. So yeah, you're right. I think for my strategy, I think I'm going to stay on the triple 32. The only thing I'm tempted by potentially looking at Ben's predictions there for game week 36 and 37, looks like there could be a blank in 37 as well, and it's with some fairly or players that will be sorry, teams that we're going to have a lot of players from because they'll all be doubling the 36,
Hmm.
if that makes sense. So teams potentially like Man City and Bournemouth, we're going to be potentially looking to load up for the doubles on those teams.
And then you're going to have a
And then
problem the
they're going to
next week
blank in
without a free hit.
37. So that's my own. I haven't really given it much thought yet. Just looked this
Yeah.
afternoon, but starting to wonder whether the free hit, if you can get through 34, it may actually be of more better
Well,
than 37. But
Now that Forest and Brentford fixture is in 34,
exactly.
if you happen to have gone with, say, a wild card that might have had Mbuemo left in it, or might have had Neco Williams on your bench, all of a sudden you'll be going through your mind, can I get through game week 34 without using the free hit and save it for later in the season for a last minute splurge on 36, or cover the blank game week 37. So that I can see the likes of Ben being able to do that,
Yeah,
given his
absolutely.
lack of injuries that he's had, the number of transfers he's able to save, and the fact that he'll be the right side of that without even looking at his team. I imagine he'll be able to free hit one of those latter weeks. So I think given the decisions that you've made to go kind of all in on a double game week 33, it's going to be very difficult not to use a free hit in the game week
Well,
34.
I've just counted it really quickly in my head, and I think I've got 10 players
Yeah,
out. And I've got three
yeah,
Palace, two Man City, no, three, two or three Villa, and three Arsenal. So
yeah.
just yeah, I'm cooked for that. But it is a possibility for those who are using their wild card this week just to have a think about it. If it does, if you can carry through and you can get 9 or 10 out in 34. I mean, there are some attractive fixtures, but also the teams that are blanking are good teams as well. Like high scoring teams that more like Palace. Well, obviously Palace, City, Villa, and Arsenal. They're very good teams. So I don't think it's I I think it's possible to get through to 37, but obviously it's very very team dependent. But yeah, for those who wildcard us in 30 and have loaded up on 33 doublers, it's probably a near impossibility, I think. But
I think, well, as well, you're going to be so tempted to play what's in front of you. If you look at those four teams, Palace,
exactly,
City, Villa, Arsenal, you're going to have to go conservative and maybe only have like two players from each of those teams max if you're going to play through 34. So you're sort of turning down a lot of upside there in exchange for a free hit
yeah,
later on that you don't like the look of it.
yeah. No, that's right.
I wouldn't overthink
No,
it.
I don't
I'd
think
still
so.
play the blank, I think.
So transfers in this week. Obviously, we mentioned the injuries. There are a few players who are really coming through now, aren't they? As good options, low owned players as well. Rich, you want to talk us through your options for transfer targets for this week?
Yeah, a few. I put this together. Put this on list. I put a list together yesterday before the matches last night. But Rashford's starting to look really good, isn't he, for
Absolutely,
Villa?
unbelievable.
For some reason, he seems to be getting the nod ahead of Watkins. I don't know if Watkins has got a niggle, or maybe that's just a selection choice by Emery that is Rashford's getting a go in the up front for the team. So I like Rashford as an option and could be quite a nice punt, quite a nice price as well. I think Rashford about 6.5
Yeah,
million.
yeah.
See you put Anthony Gordon on there. not quite sure of his injury status. He got a knock over the international
Yeah,
break, but he is now free to return. So I think we will see him return this week, and a nice option with Leicester, and then a double for Newcastle. Um, Anthony Elanga arguably scored the goal of the week
incredible, incredible.
with a barnstorming run through the field and lovely finish for Forest. And Forest continue to get result after result, grind out results. This week they're away to Villa, so that should be an interesting game as
Yeah,
Villa also have hit form. So I like Elanga though. Again, if you want a cheap pick and you're looking to do that playthrough that we talked about. It has a fixture in game week 34 as well. If you don't have a free hit, he makes a very nice cheap bench option or cheap fifth mid option. And of course, Saliba, probably 80% of the engaged audience owns Gabriel and now pretty much has to make a transfer, albeit a very boring one, sideways to Saliba. It's just a question of whether you do it this week or whether you hang on and make a. The way I feel at the moment, mate, is if I bring in a replacement for Gabriel, he'll just get
get
injured before
injured.
game week 33. Do you know
What
what I
do
mean?
you what do you think on the Kiwior move? Because they haven't got any defenders. They're all injured. He's 4.8 million. Do you think it's too risky?
I think I'd rather pay, as Gabriel is that sort of
Yeah,
6.4
just a
million price, I'd
sideways move.
rather just do a sideways move to Saliba, just because Saliba's good for bonus and absolutely nailed, plays every
Yeah,
game like a Van Dijk or whatever. So I don't know. I think there can be other options. I mean, Ben White is going to get some minutes now.
yeah. He had a.
Poss
He was injured as well, though. I think apparently as
Yeah.
well. This is
Right.
this is the
Okay.
problem. Is
Right. So there's there's
they're
not a
all
lot of
injured. No.
options. Yeah, you're not.
So,
So therefore, do you want a double Arsenal defense, or
well,
even in your case, a triple
that's a good
Arsenal
question
defense going
itself.
forward? What are you going to do with Timber, for example? Are you just going to wait on that one?
I'm gonna have to keep him. I was looking at my team earlier. Well, we'll obviously look at our teams in a bit, but
Mm.
I think I've got three flagged players, but my bench this week is pretty good. I got the double Villa boys, and I think it might be no, not Murphy, and a midfielder. So I'm just gonna I'm gonna try and save and
Yeah.
go through. I think, but we'll look at our teams
Yeah.
later, and obviously we're gonna get a lot more news tomorrow in the presses as well. So we'll know a
Yeah.
bit more there. But yeah, I think I'll just leave him. I think.
Yeah, I think it's worth leaving it for a week. I think just because,
Exactly.
as you say, most if your team's got a good bench and they've got
This
a
is
good
it.
fixture, actually, arguably, Gabriel's injury gives you less of a benching headache for this week, and you can at
It
least play
does.
one of your fourth or fifth defenders in a decent fixture. So I would leave it, and having two transfers again will give more flexibility in terms of moving money around. So I'll probably make a transfer for game week 33 on Gabriel. I'm getting to that stage where I'm not too worried about money, and he'll
It
fall in
does. It
price
doesn't
a
matter
bit.
now,
It
mate.
doesn't
Is
really
it? And
matter
especially
after the wild
now
card.
Haaland is out.
Yeah,
Um, Gone, haven't it?
yeah,
He may be back potentially for what would it be double game week 36, but he's even if he is back around then, he's not going to play 90 twice, and there's other options and stuff. So yeah, we'll just see.
yeah. I'm not too worried about stretching for that. And then the final one obviously Saka is back,
Saka is back with a
and
bang. Incredible.
yeah, so I think we'll see everybody lumping onto Saka either on wildcard this week or over the next 2 weeks as they build towards game week 33, where he is a captain option. He is a potential triple captain option given their fixtures. So I think most people need to be making a plan to get Saka in. Palmer may well be given a stay of execution because he has Ipswich in game week 32, and I think that's the reason a lot of people held on
Yeah.
to him, give him that Ipswich fixture. But then you'll see a mass sell on Palmer for Saka.
Well, yeah, really good point from Evercan in the chat. He says many of our players have UCL before game week 32 as well. So obviously Arsenal, Arsenal and Villa in particular, obviously because they are in the Champions League, are obviously going to go full strength in the Champions League. They both got incredibly hard fixtures. Not maybe not as convinced as you potentially that all these players are all going to get all these minutes. And obviously United Spurs and Chelsea as well. But they play pre-game week 32 and pre double game week 33. That's a lot of minutes. If I can. So Saka's next 4 games, which are to be played in the next 10 days, are Everton away, and Everton will give him a hell of a game.
Kick him to bits, won't they?
Madrid,
Kick him to do a Tarkowski on him.
uh, Madrid, then
Yeah.
Brentford, who give you the runaround as well, and then Madrid away
Mm.
before the double. So
Mm.
yeah, I think I've got sort of that in the back of my mind. And Villa's is it's a touch easier. I say home Forest is going to be a really hard game. PSG away, incredibly tough game. Away to Southampton and then home to PSG. Maybe you can argue a touch easier than Arsenal's one, but yeah, it's gonna. I can just see so much rotation. I can just see this bench was a complete disaster in 33.
They've got to keep on. I mean, Arsenal have got to keep going, haven't they? They're not safe in second, really. If they start to lose a couple of games, then they've got teams queuing up behind them. So I think they've got to build Saka's fitness
Yes,
first.
of
I think you'll
course.
see him
Yeah.
start against Everton, possibly get, if they've got the game won, they'll bring him off after 70 odd minutes. Then yeah, who knows after the Real Madrid game. I think if the tie is lost, in the first match, which it could well be, then they won't bother so much about the second leg.
Well, both
But
both Arsenal and Liverpool play twice as well. I know kind of, Liverpool have probably won the league as well. But I just can't see Arsenal flogging their play. The things have got so many games in such a short period of time. I just look at Arsenal have got 6 games, right, in 17 days. That's crazy.
wow.
6 games in
Wow.
17 days. So it is
Wow.
going to be interesting. And then they have a bit of a break then. But yeah, anyone else, Rich, sort of catch your eye in terms of transfers? Transfers in this week? I think we did a lot of it on Sunday, didn't we? To be fair.
Well, it's we talked. We had to sort of try and feature different players. I mean, if you haven't got Rodgers, I think he's the standout player to get in for Villa. A lot of people sold Rodgers on wildcard or have sold him in the weeks running up to it. He's probably Villa's most reliable starter. I like Ezri Konsa as well. I think he's the most reliable central defender. But as you said, same potential for rotation.
Absolutely.
If it's going well in the Champions League, he could well get a rest in the league fixture. So it's a bit of a minefield, isn't it? You're trying to bring in doublers or people who might double, and it's not looking great, is it? Not
It's
looking
going to be
great at
interesting.
all.
I can see the violins after we do our game week 34 preview to double game week 33, and there's just violins everywhere. I can just it'd be the orchestra will be out, but you've got to play it, haven't you? You can't not, right? You have to target the doubles. So
yeah, you do really. I mean, I'm a bit worried about the everyone went all in on Palace. We haven't got any Palace assets in this list because they performed so poorly against Southampton. I'm a bit worried about Mateta in particular.
59 minutes
going
last
off
night,
after
wasn't it?
59 minutes. So you'd expect people to continue to pile into Palace because of the double, but the fixtures aren't great. That performance wasn't great, and could we even see some rotation for Palace now? So
Oh,
tricky,
FPL
isn't it?
hurts, don't it, mate? Doesn't
It's
FPL
lovely.
hurt? It's just
Yeah,
last night I was
it's
looking at
great.
my phone, and you've got this expectation of the goals are going to come in, and Salah goal or an Isak, and it was just I know Isak scored, but it just wasn't much. There's not much going on at the
Not much
moment in
excitement. Well,
terms
none of
of
the games were on TV, were they? The only game was on was Liverpool, so it was all largely sort of getting reports from Twitter and God knows what was happening. So yeah, it was a little bit of an anticlimax, wasn't it? It was supposed to be a really, really big night for people wanting to make a move, and it didn't quite happen. But Evan Nielsen, look, come good for people who haven't wildcarded yet.
absolutely.
I had him last week, but sold him, and he came in with a 8 or 9 pointer, I think, last night. So Evan Nielsen looks good, and I've seen quite a few wildcard squads who haven't gone for the template Isak, Mateta, Marmoush setup. And if you need a cheaper cheaper attacker there, then João Pedro or Evan Nielsen are good picks, I think, that you could do. Although Brighton were very poor last night
Yeah,
as well
yeah, it's crazy.
after a good run.
Looking at predicted points for the next three, so I've only done the next 3 game weeks. I've excluded game week 34. But Isak is top, and that is so he's flagged at 75%. It still includes that. So Isak is the man. He's the man to own over these next 2 or 3 game weeks. 25 points. Salah 24, Mateta 21, Palmer. Rich, you'll be sad to see at 20. Sarah at 19. Gordon, FPL Gaza in the chat said that Gordon will be fine for the weekend. So yeah, he looks an option. Murphy, 5 million cut price Murphy. He was brought off early again last night, wasn't he?
Yeah, well, his bonus after that Mbuemo goal, he lost all his bonus. He was earning 2 or 3 bonus at one stage, and then Mbuemo chipped away at his bonus. I think that was maybe something going on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good though, Murphy. Lovely cross for the goal. Very good for 5 million. Nice asset.
I've actually got. I was looking at. I've got 6 of the top 7 players there, so that's quite good to know. There, not that it tends to mean much. Sokan asks, a double game week in the chart. Yes, they are. This includes double game weeks. Oh, sorry, it won't include doubles 33. I do apologise because I pulled this graphic up prior to the doubles being confirmed. So game week 32 predicted points in this chart, but not 33. Danny Kirk has the top 7 on this list. Well done, Danny. You should have a good week. Eze 17, Saka 17, Watkins 16, Soboslai interestingly 15, Martinelli and Buemo Munoz, and the rest there. But yeah, I was thinking, Rich, it was quite hard to prep any sort of real groundbreaking new content in this pod. We were so thorough with Ben. Well, Ben was so thorough on Sunday, and not an awful lot has changed because the wildcards, as we mentioned earlier, for game week 30 and 31 are very, very similar, aren't they? But
yeah, I think given we always knew I think that 31 would have been the week where you got more information. We have now got the fixture confirmation, which was bang on. So fortunately for 30 wildcarders, there wasn't any huge surprises on the fixtures. But you've got the benefit of Saka's fitness, you've got the benefit of Gabriel's injury that you can avoid and tinker around, plus the Forest and Brentford confirmation in the blank game week. So I think it has been valuable to wait for a couple of days and not get drawn into the upside, which frankly was a little bit disappointing. Even City was only 2-0, and although Marmoush scored and he was a good captaincy punt, it hasn't been a huge variance week for the wildcarders. So I think game week 31 wildcarders have won.
Yes, I do too.
A small battle.
Yeah. So just to confirm, actually, on these numbers on here, we've had a few questions about it. So these will also include Ben's predictions for game week 33, which is roughly 90% sure that the gains from 34 are going to be put into 33. So these they will move slightly, but they're not far off at all. And as we move on to the Hub AI Game Week 31 wildcard team, you can actually see that because the ones on the right hand side now we're looking at that are sort of hexed out did include Ben's predictions there. So looking at the Game Week 31 wildcard team, Hub AI has picked. It's gone for Verbruggen in goals, Areola as the sub keeper, Saliba, Munoz, Gvardiol. It's gone for Virgil and Colwill, and then Salah, Palmer, Sarr, Murphy, and Gordon, Mateta, Isak, and Evan Nielsen. So lots of popular names in there. A couple of surprise ones, maybe.
No Marmoush, no.
No Marmoush in this team. No, it's gone for triple Newcastle attack. And with the flags as well, and with the flags, it means they've had a minute's downgrade too, so they're even better options than we think. Even like Gordon for next week, 10 points with a 75% flag. So yeah, interesting there. But it does. The AI team does have a plan. So it'll play whatever this week, and then it'll make a transfer next week, etc., etc. So it does have a place. It's not just a set in stone team. It could even it could even move at Evan Nielsen to Marmoush, for example, next week or the week after. So
Yeah, although they're saying in the chat as well, the other one is no Saka, hasn't put Saka in. It still favours
yeah, it
Palmer because
favors
of
it
that
favors
Ipswich
Palmer.
fixture.
Yeah, but again, it could be Palmer to Saka in 33. That could be the Hebei's planned move, which at the moment is probably my move. But yeah, we will see how that pans out. How are you feeling about not having Palmer? I was really on. Well, I say I was on the fence with it. I think home to Spurs. I think away to Brentford is going to be tough. Home to Ipswich, I'm pretty excited about those ones. I'm not couldn't
Yeah.
get that excited
Well,
about Saka.
how do I feel about it? Well, first of all, I think I'm going to watch a movie this evening
Yeah.
and not watch the game. So that
As a
because
Chelsea fan as well.
last time Chelsea played Tottenham, I went out because I didn't want to watch Palmer. I think that was the night he scored at least two. So yeah, I don't really fancy watching it. So I'm all right. I think he could go off, couldn't he, in one of the next 2 weeks? But he hasn't really done anything
He
for
hasn't.
5 or 6 weeks, and so I think the wild card was a good opportunity to take him out
That's
and
fair.
save a transfer, which I'm definitely going to
Yes, of
need
course.
on the Saka move. So I think I'm okay with it, and good luck to people who've held on. They deserve some returns.
Let's have a quick look at some assistant manager projections. Obviously, those who didn't use their assistant manager chip in Game Week 24 to 26 or 25 to 27, Ben recommended, again, I think you recommended as well, Rich, that they wildcarded last game week. And then they used the assistant manager chip from 31 to 33. Looking at it, so this is ranked over the 3 weeks, but
Yeah.
Arteta looks to be top over the 3 weeks with 29.9 predicted points. Guardiola second, 27.5. Osakoglu 27. Glasner is third there, but obviously it's only because he's got a tough first game against Brighton and then a double. How then slot? But what would your strategy be, Rich? If you were
Well,
using
based on what
assistant
we
manager
learned
chip?
when we played, based on what we learned when we played it, I would be prioritizing going for table bonus in each of the 3 of the weeks. I just think it's worth it, given what else, how difficult it is to predict everything else.
Yeah,
I think I was chatting to someone earlier, and I was quite surprised to learn that Emery is now no longer eligible for table bonus against Forest this
right.
weekend. I thought Villa were far enough behind Forest for that to be 5 places, but I don't think it is now. I think maybe it's 4 places or something. So therefore, that would have been my pick. I'd have started with Emery and
Yeah,
then moved it on to Glasner, I think. But
yeah,
that's not possible now. I think a couple of the names that are not on this graphic, although they have table bonus upside, are Amorim against City.
yeah.
I
It's a good
think
show.
uh, Potter, I think this week against who are West Ham playing?
Danny Kirk in the chat is going for Potter this week. Let's have a look at West Ham
Yeah.
are playing. They're playing
And
Bournemouth. Bournemouth. And out of
and
sorts, Bournemouth, probably fair to say.
yeah, and the team and whoever's playing Chelsea, I should know this. Brighton, is it? I think.
Yes.
Who's played? Yeah.
Yeah.
So um, who? No, it's not. It's not Brighton. I'll look it
I
up.
thought it
I should look
was.
it up.
I thought it was.
Um,
Brentford.
Brentford.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, nearly right. I knew it was BR.
Yeah.
Brentford. Yeah, Brentford. You'd fancy Brentford at home to stand a good chance of beating Chelsea. So those would be, I guess, my 3 opening fixtures to start with an assistant manager because you just got that sort of 20-point upside to kick you off, even though it might not be predicted on the points. I just think you want to get off to that strong start there, and then you just go for the managers with 2 fixtures.
You're going
So
for
Howe or
You're going for
Glasner for
Glasner, I
week.
think. How many of
Yeah,
these?
just put it on Glasner for 32 and 33. You could just go Glasner all the way through if your team's in tatters and you've got
Yeah.
no transfers. But I would definitely prioritize maximizing the chip. It's such a powerful
I'm
chip, and
very
we've almost
jealous of the
forgotten about it because the
Absolutely.
majority of the community has
Absolutely.
used it. But there's plenty of people out there who've waited, and you should reap the rewards.
I'm very jealous of Glasner. Glasner owners. I'm very jealous of assistant manager holders of these next 3 weeks because
Yeah.
the way that the fixtures have turned out in 32 and 33. I mean, they're okay, and we might do all right, but Glasner won't have rotation, will he? He'll whatever it is. Whereas our players who are playing in 32 and 33 could see some rotations. So it's going to be interesting. I really think that there's going to be some massive holes over these next 2 to 3 weeks, and real swings. You could have 30-40 point swing over your rivals, which you've worked hard to build up over the whole season, and then it just
could be on an Isaac triple captain. He goes off with a groin strain with 1 point, so you get 3. Versus a 20-point table bonus.
And that's the thing with the manager. There's no injury, there's no rotation, there's no nothing. There's just points. So you are right. It's going to be interesting. Have a look at the best captain for this week. Top of predicted points, Mohamed Salah, 7.4 this week. Palmer predicted to be the second highest, 6.4. Mateta, 5.8. Looking at the polls, I did post the poll late, so there's not many votes. But interestingly, Isak came out top against Leicester away, assuming he's fit with 58% of the vote, and then Salah just behind on 25. Tough week for captaincy this week. Pretty wide open, Rich. Is it one of those where you just go with who you think rather than play strategically?
Well, maybe with Salah's just reverting a little bit to the mean, isn't he? He wasn't great last night. Didn't have a huge amount of chances.
He hasn't been great for a few weeks, have he? Really?
No, exactly. I might go for Isak. I mean, Leicester are pretty poor, aren't they? They're not,
to say the least,
producing anything. So Isak, and also it's one of those injuries. If he's either going to play or he's not. I think
so as well
with Isak. So you can just put Salah on the vice captain, and if he doesn't make it, then you've still got a decent captain to shout. So
there's no Europe either, so he might get 80 or 90. I think he was brought off last night, but obviously they had the game this weekend. They haven't got a game next weekend.
Monday,
next week.
Next Monday.
Yeah, so
they've got he's got 5 days I think to recover for Monday night. So I think Isak is a good shout this week.
Lost Saka then?
Not away to Everton.
No.
I possibly. I'm quite optimistic that he'll do well. Although I would have liked Gabriel to get on the end of his corners, so that's
that's right.
That ain't going to happen anymore. So it's really he does take a good set piece to Saka. So I wouldn't say he was a captain option away to Everton.
FPL Freddie and Claire FPL says Isak captain if fit. Let us know in the chat. Anyone else who's got any different options for there? But yeah, I think Isak looks the man at the moment for me as well. Fergie is a punt for game week 31. We haven't seen his name for ages and it's a bit of a 1 week punt. It was if Mateta's out, sort of thing. I was quite surprised at the minutes played of this particular player, because he was injured for quite a while, but he's come back. And let me just check. Want to get it in front of me, but I'm sure he's played. Yeah, he's come back. He's played back-to-back 90s, and he's played in Europe as well. It could have been a number of players, but they're home to Southampton this week. And being a Spurs fan, I think that it is worth a punt this week on Dominic Solanke. Now, please don't laugh too hard. Please don't laugh too hard. But I think Spurs. I'm hoping now they're getting all their players back, or most of them back. I think Kulusevski might have had another injury or a kind of recurrence of an injury, but other than that, they are getting all their players back. They're looking a bit stronger now, and Dominic Solanke, I think, could be an option this week, particularly if you get news Isak is out, for example, or whatever else. So it could be any of the Spurs attackers really.
You don't think it could be? I heard Richarlison was back. You don't think Solanke could be benched tonight, do you?
I wouldn't have thought so. I mean, all Spurs have got,
and just in terms of keeping him for the second leg of Europe. That's all.
Maybe
because they are prioritising.
I was talking to a friend, and he thinks that Spurs may rotate against Southampton. I can't see it personally. I'd be surprised if they did. They might do, but
Not against
It's
Chelsea.
interesting. Not against Chelsea. He thinks they'll play against Chelsea and then play against Europe. Sorry, not to play against Europe. They'll play in Europe next Thursday, maybe rest on the weekend, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I think Solanke might be worth it. I do fancy a goal and assist for Solanke on the
It's
weekend.
really crept up that fixture, hasn't it? No one's been talking about it at all, that Southampton fixture. The way that people were talking about Palace playing them, and all of a sudden they've got a home game. I mean, that could be 6-0, couldn't it? And
Well,
it's just
it's
a
interesting.
dangling there.
I was looking at Spurs' other players' minutes. Son's last 4 games, Heung-min Son, he's played 74, 23, 45, 45. There's no consistency there. Madison, 26, 82, 29, 22. Johnson, 64, 90, 45, 45. They keep making these half-time substitutes. Bissouma, Bergval, they're all getting like 45s here and there. Defenders are hard to call because Porro, Udogi, and Spence keep, they seem to be like this 3-way rotation as well. But I do think Solanke, is. I think he's reasonably nailed. So yeah, he's my punt anyway for this week. Goal and assist this week. But we will see. FPL Freddy, Spurs already lost against both promoted sides at home this season. They have, you're right. We lost to Ipswich and Leicester. Will we make it? Hat trick. Michael Brooks says Odebear, who has been getting some minutes as well, haven't he? We will. That is a really good punt there, Michael. Indeed. Rich, we've got your team on screen for Game Week 31. Do you want to talk us through your team and your plans for the week?
Yeah, sure. So this is my wild-carded team from last week. I now have Raya in goal. I will play Munoz again, I think, at home to Brighton in the A23 derby. I have a choice to make between Livramento and Konza. Konza has the home game against Forest. Livramento has an away game against Leicester.
Leicester can't score, mate.
I mean, Leicester can't score, and he played really well last night, Livramento, and I think could even see some attacking returns there. So I think he gets the nod over Konza. Guardiola for City completes the defence. Then I've got Salah, Saka, Ismail Yassar, and Jacob Murphy, who gets the nod over Rodgers at the moment, again, just due to the Leicester being so poor. And then the template up front of Mateta, Isak, and Marmoush. So it still looks pretty good. Gabriel obviously now is propped on the bench, but 2 very able subs in Rodgers and Konsa to come in. And I'd like to play them both, actually, to be honest.
Yeah, this is it.
Because they have a home game and Villa have hit form again at the right time.
Indeed.
So I do like the team. No need to make a transfer. I will save it and ponder what to do with Gabriel. And I probably, just because every player I bring in gets injured the following week, I'll just wait until game week 33 and make some changes then with a stack of transfers. I think that's the safest way to do it, because if I bring in a defender now and he gets injured, that's another transfer to transfer him out. And because of this bench booster, you've got to prioritise your transfers for that. So definitely a role for me. Captaincy's reasonably fluid, but I think it will be not as shown here. It'll be on Isak, I think, away to Leicester. And just play that. Just keep attacking the promoted teams.
Yep, looking good.
What's that? 90.
Oh, sorry, mate.
What's the rating on that?
95% game week rating. 95%.
Yeah,
pretty good, mate. Really good.
Yeah.
91% rating overall for your team. Your recommended transfer this week at Fantasy Football Hub was Save Your Transfer. Looking good there. And your aggressive transfer, if you wanted to do it, you'll never guess, Rich. Saka to Parma, which your aggressive transfer recommendation for a 1 week punt. But I wouldn't be doing that if I were you. But if you were after a 1 week punt, Rich, Saka to Parma,
that'd be great, wouldn't it?
Brilliant. My team very similar to yours at the moment. Raya in goal, Munoz, Gvardiol, Timber. Should be okay, I think, hopefully. If not, I'll get Konza off the bench, so I'm fine with that. Salah, probably Palmer. His predicted points are still so good. Sarr and Murphy. At the moment, I've got Rodgers on the bench. I'm not sure how I feel about that, to be honest. Mateta, Isak, and Marmoush. I could play. I have got Pope. I could potentially play Pope over Raya, but Not sure what. Yeah, interesting that one actually. Pope or Raya? Maybe Pope actually. I might go for Pope because I've got Timber. I might go for Pope because I think Everton. Unlucky not to score last night. They've been playing well.
Aren't you tempted? Aren't you tempted to? I know you probably want to roll as well, but aren't you tempted to move one of those flagged Arsenal players on so you can free the Saka spot? Just might make it a little bit more necessary for you to do that because at the moment you're blocked.
Yeah, no, I need to know if Timber's fit. 'Cause if he's fit, he's fine and he's playing. I'm more than happy with him. So I'll probably do the same as you. I'll probably wait till 33, take Gabriel out for someone else, and then use another saved transfer then to bring in Saka. Yeah. So I think it'll be fine. But yeah, I don't know how you feel at the moment. It seems hard to make. It's quite hard to make any gains at the moment. It feels like the whole world is an engaged manager at present, and whatever you do,
in the top million, everybody is they're watching us and other people, and we're telling them that sensible moves to make, and they've all got the same teams. I mean, there was a lot of feedback that wildcards were all the same, but it's not really surprising, is it? With the double game weeks out there, and the
Ben Crellin having 300,000 followers.
Yeah. Well, there you are. I mean, it is. It's incredibly difficult to make gains, and it's not just what your players score; it's what the players you don't own do. And last night, some of the players we owned last week, returned just as well, didn't they? The Mbeuemos, the Evan Nielsen's, etc. And so it's just very hard to gain. I think you would expect to go up higher than you have with the points we got, because it wasn't a bad week. It's only really Palace that didn't do what we expected them to do. Newcastle won, City won, Arsenal won. We're loaded on those players, and I mean the 94th minute clean sheet wipeout, that must have been terrible for people who tripled up. I mean, I know we'd lost Gabriel, but
Timber came off, thankfully.
You got the Timber points. He came off, but Raya conceding in the 94th minute. I mean, that's just devastating, isn't it? Really, what an absolute nightmare. So anyway, it's hopefully things will improve in the next 2 or 3 weeks, and we'll get the value of this wild card, mate.
My recommended transfer on Fantasy Football Hub is to save. Don't forget, if you want your own recommended transfers, you can import your team into fantasyfootballhub.co.uk. Top link in the description below. 7-day free trial. It will analyze your team and tell you what to do with your team, or give you recommendations anyway. If I was to make an aggressive transfer this week, it suggests Gabriel to 8 Norrie. Fancies 8 Norrie for the next 2 or 3. Gabriel. That Gabriel line is wrong. Again, I pull a lot of these fixtures out throughout the day, but we have had the news. It looks like he's going to be out for the season now as well, doesn't it? So, but I'm just going to leave him for the time being. I've got a good bench. Rodgers and Konza. Happy to save. Yeah, just looking forward to the Palmer hat-trick this evening, mate, to be honest. Not as a Spurs fan, but I'm looking forward to a Palmer hat-trick. Solanke, 4 goals. 4-3 Spurs with the Palmer hat-trick. That will...
Every time I get within a few points of you, you pull away again. So
it's going to be a tight finish, mate. It's going to be such a tight finish.
At least we've got something to play for, beating each other.
I don't think I've ever... I don't think, since we've been podding, I've ever beaten you. So in like 2 or 3 seasons or whatever it is now. So yeah, it'd be nice, but you're there, and every time I think I'm pulling away, all of a sudden you have a stormer, and then you're back to within sort of 10 points of me. So it's going to be a good battle at the end.
It is, mate.
But that is it for us for this week. Thank you so much to everyone who's joined in the chat. Apologies again that we were a few minutes late. Those who are going to watch it back, and those listening on the podcast version, your support is very much appreciated as usual. Rich, thank you so much. As usual, where can people get hold of you?
At Rich Clarke FPL on X and Blue Sky.
My handle is at FFH_Fergi, and this podcast and video will be on the Fantasy Football Hub YouTube channel, with the podcast versions available on all major podcast platforms. If you like what you watched, please press the like button. Remember to subscribe to the channel in the bottom right hand corner of the screen. And if you enjoyed your listen, please rate the podcast and leave a comment. Drop us 5 stars and say hello. It would be really, really nice. We will be back next Thursday to look ahead to double game week 32. Is this the first double? No. Oh, no, there was 24, 25. First double of the season with Chip Spaffins on high alert. In the meantime, we hope you have a fantastic Game Week 31, and may all your arrows be green. Good night, all.